Protests are still erupting around the world as Iranians continue to rise up against the Islamic regime. What began as an economic emergency inside Iran has now grown into a global movement, with millions of people demanding change, dignity, and an end to repression. From Tehran to Toronto, from Shiraz to Los Angeles, the voices of Iranians are being heard louder than ever. Tonight, we break down what is happening inside Iran, why the protests are spreading, and why this moment could reshape the future of the Middle East. Iran is facing one of the worst economic crises in its modern history. The Iranian rial has collapsed to historic lows, making everyday goods unaffordable for millions of families. Food prices have soared, rent has skyrocketed, wages have failed to keep up with inflation. Many middle-class Iranians now find themselves unable to afford basic necessities. This crisis has been driven by years of economic mismanagement, corruption, and international sanctions tied to Iran's nuclear program and regional conflicts. But for ordinary people, the cause matters less than the reality. They are being crushed financially, and they feel abandoned by their government. Small businesses are shutting down, factories are slowing production, students are dropping out because their families can no longer afford tuition. The economic pressure has reached a breaking point. In late December, the situation exploded. Merchants in Tehran's historic Grand Bazaar, one of the most powerful economic centers in the country, closed their shops in protest. That single act sent a shockwave through the nation. When the bazaar shuts down, it signals that the economy is in serious trouble. Within days, protests spread to universities, city centers, and working-class neighborhoods across all 31 provinces. What started as demonstrations about prices and wages quickly became something much bigger. People began chanting against the entire political system. They were no longer just asking for relief. They were demanding fundamental change. The Iranian government responded the way it always does, with force. Security forces moved in with tear gas, batons, and live ammunition. Thousands have been arrested. Many protesters have been injured. Human rights groups say the death toll is rising, though exact numbers are hard to verify because of a nationwide internet shutdown. The government has tried to silence the movement by cutting off social media, blocking messaging apps, and limiting access to the outside world. But even under blackout conditions, people are still gathering, still chanting, still risking their lives. This is not just a protest. This is a population that has lost its fear, and now the world is responding. In major cities across the globe, Iranians in the diaspora and supporters of human rights have taken to the streets. They are marching, holding signs, waving flags, and demanding international attention. These demonstrations are happening in the United States, Canada, the United Kingdom, Germany, France, Australia, and many more countries. They are calling on world leaders to stop supporting the Iranian government and to stand with the people. For many protesters abroad, this is personal. Their families are still inside Iran. Their loved ones are facing the violence, the arrests, and the uncertainty. This protest movement is different from previous uprisings. In the past, protests were often driven by specific events. This time, the crisis is systemic. It is about survival. It is about the cost of living. It is about dignity. When a government can no longer provide food, stability, or opportunity, it loses its legitimacy. That is the danger the Iranian regime is facing right now. The longer this crisis continues, the harder it will be to contain. Protests are still erupting, both inside Iran and across the globe. What happens next could determine not only Iran's future, but the balance of power in the Middle East. For now, one thing is clear: the Iranian people are no longer willing to suffer in silence, and the world is watching.